SonicLAB TV.
That's the sound of the Novation Mininova. This is a brand new synthesizer from Novation. It's got small form factor, mini keys, the usual requisite blue that Novation are famous for. It's got the same synth engine basically as the Ultranova, 18 voices, 3 oscillators per voice, that kind of thing. But it's also got some interesting other features on board as well. So starting at the pitch and mod wheel, nice backlit, look very sexy in the Novation blue, pitch and mod, nice positive feel. And then coming along to the keyboard, we've got these, I guess they're standard mini keys if there is such a thing, velocity sensitive, no aftertouch, 1, 2, 3 octaves, so I guess that's 37 keys. And coming back over here, we've got octave switch, which are backlit to sort of give you a rough idea of how many octaves up and down you are from the center. An arpeggiator with a tempo knob, on and latch switches, master volume, input for the mic or the gooseneck mic, nice clear LCD display, paging up and down, menu buttons, OK and save, and then we've got patch selection buttons here with up and down patches, a rotary encoder data wheel, and then this is something that's quite common to the microKorg as well. These are sort of genre and type of, they're sort of bank switches, I guess, so the patches are organised into these types of patches, but then we've also got genre, which no doubt will date very quickly, but hey ho, that's just the way it works with this one, and you can sort them either alphabetically or numerically. Coming further along, we've got this large end normal knob which handles the filter cutoff frequency, nice and positive, feels sort of good in the hand. And then we've got the parameter matrix here, 4 knobs by various different types of parameters. Nice LED display to show you which one you're on. And this sort of interesting slider way of doing things, which I actually quite like. It works very visually. We've got filter, envelopes, and then there's 2 assignable banks here. Then coming down to these buttons, this is interesting because they look like they should be program buttons, but they're actually not. What these are is well, they can be favorite buttons, so you can actually store 8 favorite sounds. But when in animate mode, they go blue. And when you press on one of these keys, it triggers a kind of parameter change, which you can set up inside the synthesis engine. And when you're going this way, it shows you the number of the steps there are in the arpeggiator, which you can switch them on or off and have them skip so they can get some rhythmic side of things. Coming around the back, we've got a Kensington lock, external audio in for line inputs, 1/4" jack outputs, headphone on 1/4", sustain pedal input, MIDI in and out, and USB. Then we've got power switching between external DC or bus powered, and you also get a 9-volt DC power supply included, and a nice clear Novation branding right there. The synth engine is the same as the Ultranova, which is something I reviewed last year. It's got 18 voices, monotimbral, so it only plays 1 sound at a time, but each of those sounds can be made up of 3 oscillators. There's 1 noise generator and 2 ring modulators, and each of those voices also have 2 filters with multiple filter types. We've got the usual waveforms, which are square, sine, triangle, sawtooth, pulse, 9 saw pulse combinations, 20 digital waveforms, and 36 wavetables. There are 20 modulation sources per patch and 66 destinations, so you can get a lot of routing and modulation possibilities there. There are also 5 effect slots for each patch, so sort of sculpting the sound in the effects realm is also entirely possible. I can talk about the specifications, of course, and you know, that might be of interest, but I think the best thing for me to do is just sort of try and play and show how the front panel interacts with the sound. This is a bass sound called Churn PS. It's got a decent amount of bottom end. I can flip into the filter mode, drive the filter a bit harder. Get some real big stuff happening. But the real fun comes when I start to use these animate buttons. There are 4 program slots in here. I could have up to 8, so That's affecting the modulation. Fast, slow. I can press hold and keep that sort of, that particular setting effectively fixed. Then I've got, I'm not sure what these two do, but it's something pretty radical. So you can see with those animate buttons, what I've got is the power to increase the sort of the expressivity and the manipulation of the sound in real time without the need to have all of those extra knobs on it. And the parameter access feels very easy and quick to get to. I like the way that the slider's there. You can sort of keep your thumb on it effectively, and that's kind of cool. And what I like about this feature is it gives you a massive range of sonic possibilities with essentially what is a fairly limited front panel. Another neat feature is the fact that on the display here, you've got these little tiny cursor arrows. So if I take this sound here and I tweak the filter and I bring it back down, I can see there or thereabouts is where it was set. Same with any of the other knobs that I might be able to tweak. I can get it to back to how it was. It's a little thing, but it just adds another bit of visual feedback so that when you go crazy, you can bring it back to the sort of where the patch originally started. And that's a nice feature too. While we're on the subject of editing though, it is a little bit tedious to do. If I go to the display here and I decide I wanted to edit some part of the sound, I press menu, I want to go to edit, I press OK. I've got tweaks, I've got oscillators, I've got mixer. If I want to edit one of the oscillators, I press OK, oscillator 1, or 2, 3, oscillator common, OK, and then it's just through all the parameters individually, and then you've got to sort of back up and go in and out and what have you. I understand there have to be limitations on a synthesizer of this price and size. At the point of this review, there was no software editor, which I think will make a really big difference, but I am told that there's one coming, so I think that is going to make quite a big difference to if you want to change or modify any of the sounds. Although it is possible to do it all via the front panel, it ain't much fun. So we'll just take a quick look at the building blocks of sound in here. I have done this in the Ultranova review from last year, but it's worth a quick recap. So I've got initialized patch here, just very simple. So this is just a single oscillator, no effects, nothing going on. This is the triangle, sine wave, sawtooth, quite buzzy. Take it up an octave. It's worth bringing in some of the unique features to the Nova engine. What with this, I can dial in something called density, which sort of doubles up the waveforms. You know, it multiplies it. It's a kind of hypersaw thing. Then I can detune it. To create, this is one oscillator, quite a massive amount of array of oscillators. I've also got something called hard, which is like a separate low-pass filter for each oscillator. So that, again, much more tonal characteristics you can add there. So if we go through some of the other waveforms, we've got some digital ones here. Lots of harmonic possibilities there. So if I now come to the wavetable, I've set up another knob here that will just sort of index through the actual waves of the wavetables. I mean, it's not the massivest sounding oscillator as a basic unit in the world, but it does have a lot of harmonic capabilities and lots of sort of different tonal characteristics per oscillator. Remember, you've got 3 of these things. So let's take a quick look at how you set up the animate process. I've got, again, a basic sawtooth single oscillator wave sound. Now I come out of my menu, I'm going to go into mod slot 10, source direct, touch selection is off, I'm going to switch that to 1 and that brings this light on. I'm going to set the destination to be oscillator 1 pitch and a depth of 21. So now pressing that gives me a bit of a pitch bend type thing. I want some more, so I'm going to go into 11, direct, I'm going to make that touch 2, and that's going to be filter 1 frequency. Let's give it a bit. I've got a bit of wub going on there. Let's come out to 12, source direct, touch select will be 3, so that comes on, and I'm going to send that to FX1 amount. I've got a distortion on there, so I'm going to add the depth up. So you can hear there's a fixed ease in and ease out. There's no editing of that kind of in and out. So it'd been great to have it kind of hard in, hard out, because for that filter, it'd be have a real square wave potential. That would have been really cool, but you can't do that. Maybe that's something that will happen in the editor, but I'd like to have seen that as a possibility. So now it's time to bring out the gooseneck. This is comes with the unit. It's basically for us to try out some of the vocoder effects. There's some new stuff in here that's different from the Ultra Nova, and there's a vocal tune effects. But let's just take a listen to the few vocoders.
Sonicstate vocoder is the intelligent ability test. Sonicstate vocoder test. Sonicstate vocoder testing. Morphic vocoder. Morphic vocoder patch machine.
So now we're on to the vocal tune and pitch formants type stuff, and this is a bit different to your usual vocoder. This one tracks the pitch depending on how loud I talk into it. This patch, which is solo key C28, takes my voice and pitches it depending on how I play it into the keyboard.
2,
1,
2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7,
8, 9, 10, 11.
With this one, I apply the arpeggiator to the pitch of the voice. Sonicstate. So some quite cool vocoder effects there. I like the tuning ones. You've got some interesting effects, some sort of current auto-tuney type stuff. It's also possible to route the mic directly through the unit and having it access as a sort of source and apply some of the internal effects to it. So now we're just listening to this mic going in via a compressor, which is in effect slot 1. So if I come back out of here, effect slot 1, I've just got a compressor set up. I can go into effect slot 2 and maybe add EQ, more compression, distortion, delays, reverbs, that kind of thing. So at a pinch, I guess I could use that processing to record vocals or any other stuff that I wanted to run through it if I didn't have any other processing available, and record that into my DAW or whatever. Though I have to have an external audio interface for that, because this USB interface on here is MIDI only. So I guess how I would describe the sounds that the Mininova makes, well, I would say it's kind of polyphonic, moving, synthesized sounds. It's not really going to be much good if you want to emulate other things, and I approve of that for one thing, because you can get tons of that everywhere in sample libraries or whatever. And this has got a lot of synthesis capability, a lot of movement, a lot of width, a lot of sort of contemporary and now sounds, and that's a good thing. So I think Novation have done a good job of getting all of this inside kind of the window of what is actually quite a small instrument, and giving us the possibilities of controlling it with very limited features and functions. I think who this is going to appeal to is really going to be people just starting out who want kind of now sounds, and the sounds that they're hearing on records, and maybe want to kind of play in a band. In fact, the kind of microKorg type audience. And also, I also think that perhaps more seasoned professionals who've got a lot of other keyboards, maybe haven't got any Novation stuff, this is a really good way, because it's a small footprint. You're not paying for lots of extra keyboards or hardware. You can put it in the rack, and you can come to it, and you can also tweak it in real time as well, and play it as an instrument, but it will give you access to a lot of those contemporary sounds. I mean, really, for this price, which this package is £299 UK, I've seen that online pretty much across the board, seems like fairly good value. Other currencies will scroll below. And I think Novation have done a great job of getting all of the essence of the Nova Synth Engine here, with some great new patches as well, into such an affordable package. I think that perhaps more seasoned professionals who've got a lot of other keyboards, maybe haven't got any Novation stuff, this is a really good way, because it's a small footprint. You're not paying for lots of extra keyboards or hardware. You can put it in the rack, and you can come to it